Karen the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel where we cut and sew and see what happens. I'm happy to have you with me here today. It has been a week, I guess, so it has been a week. So I'm looking to do just something kind of fun, and we'll see how wild and crazy we want to go with this. This is what I had originally thought was going to be Hildy for the Brillig quilt. So she was mother, grandmother, whatever, Hildy. Didn't end up liking this very much, at least not for Hildy. And this is the base of Hildy, unmade up Hildy, just her natural self. And there are all kinds of choices for, does she want to be elegant, understated? And I'm thinking, at least today, I'm thinking, yeah, no. Let's go a little wild and crazy. Let Hildy be whoever Hildy tells us she wants to be. Now, she does need a brood, though. And originally I thought, well, she'll have the brood walking beside her, or maybe, she's tall enough, she has legs that they're walking underneath her for protection. But now I'm thinking, what if the brood is riding on her back? That's a definite possibility. And then how does she want to be gussied up? One of the thoughts I had, well, we talked a little bit about having a parasol to protect them, and that's a possibility. It would probably be a separate block up here, especially if I'm going to have the brood riding on her back. It is a known fact that slithy toves have strong backs. So it's okay that the brood is riding on her back. They were designed that way. We're going to design them that way. So one of the things I thought about for gussying her up is that she might be wearing like a pearl necklace or kind of a 1960s retrograde kind of necklace, which I'm a child of the 60s and the 70s, so, why not? So we could have a little necklace going around, assuming this is her neck, who knows? We're going to make it her neck. The neck could be in the middle. Maybe this is looking at her from the back side or the front side. Well, the back side would be rude, so it would be the front side. But she could be wearing some, like, Bakelite. Does anybody know what Bakelite is anymore? I'm getting older. All right. Then, or maybe she would have them, that's going to be awkward, isn't it? With the blue there. These are just circles that I had from last week. So she could have them all down her back. Except that might be kind of painful if the brood is sitting on top there. But I do kind of like a necklace effect. And the brood, not sure what they're going to look like. They might be white circles, not necessarily that large. And they might have a little bit of a stripe in them because, this is a slithy tove and they have things like that. Different markings on them. But then she probably needs an eye. Did the other toves have an eye? I think they might have. So, she could have really big eye. Yes, because she has to see everything because kids, what are you going to do? So she could have a blue eye, which is looking backward toward the children, toward those little toves. Actually, it should be sitting up higher so she can look up over. I mean, this is no nonsense. This little tove is no nonsense. All right. Oh, I just had a thought for this. This could be a rebellious, pouting teenager. What do you think? Her oldest grand Tove. Well, that's an interesting. I'm not saying all teenagers are rebellious and, well, they're often pretty moody, but this particular one is. Anyway, so I would give her pink because that might be the perfect color, but we would read that as pink eye, which is not healthy. So we're going to give her a blue eye. And her necklace, I'm thinking that she needs a little something something here. Maybe something that has a little bit of a curl in it and then comes over the brood. And maybe a little bit of a twirly feather in the back or something. I think Hildy could be kind of interesting. Now, I want to look at it compositionally and see if it meets those standards. So if somebody doesn't wish to see a slithy Tove grandmother, then they might see something else. And I would need another circle to make the 3 back here, but then that would balance out this end, but not be quite as flashy as up here, but would give some balance over here. So I need another smallish circle here. I can go digging for that. I don't know. We want the baby Toves to be, I don't know. Maybe this is a time to introduce a different shape. The adult Toves are not round. The baby Toves could be, but then they're going to be fighting with these visually, and the Toves will look like, they'll look like they're clinging to grandma, which may be true, but so if they're just riding on the back, we could do ovals. Maybe we could do a completely different shape and have them square. They might even be kind of this shape, so it's like they have ways to hang on to mom's side as they're sitting on the back. First of all, I want to dig out another circle here just so I can complete that, and then think about doing the fuura here and here. What color should that fuura be? All right, let me go digging for a little bit here. I've added a 3rd circle back here. They end up not being those particular colors, but I do like this pop of pink up here. So I've got this to kind of balance the weight a little bit over here, visual weight. And I was thinking, you know, I don't know where a Tove's ears are. I don't know if Toves have ears, but it might be a kind of fun for her to have like big hoop earrings. Again, the 60s retro costume jewelry kind of plastic. I think that would be kind of fun. I'll have to figure out where the ear is. I'm not entirely sure. You know, she could have an eye in the back too. Eyes at the back of her. It could be looking forward. All right, never mind. So next I want to think about what I'm going to do up here. So this will be fuura and this will be nonsense. Oh, those would be good names for Toves too, wouldn't it? Fuura and nonsense. Ooh, I like it. Okay, so I pulled out this piece of white. It may not end up being white, but we'll give it a try. And I want it to be a swirly kind of thing, and I don't trust my cutting, so I'm going to at least draw a semblance of what I want it to look like. So if I swirl it this way, maybe, and then it will come up that way to cover the toes, and then a little flare at the end, because, you know, Hildy, she's a flare kind of gal. So I can cut this around. I want those babies to have some cover. And sunscreen. This will be a sunscreen for them. You all wear sunscreen, right? Someone who has now had, I don't know, 8 or 9 chunks cut out of her body because of skin cancer. Fortunately, just basal cell, but public service announcement, please wear sunscreen. All right, so that's the middle. I may have to refine this with scissors. Sorry about the bump. Settle down. There you go. And I should just be doing this with scissors, shouldn't I? Yep, I'm going to switch to scissors. Cut that off so I'm not flinging it around. This is going to come around. I might have been doing better with the rotary cutter. And creating this little swirl. And at the end, now I may change this somewhat. It may be in a different color. I don't know. If nothing else, this will be a template. So she's got some flair in the front, her fuura flair. So we'll have to taper a bit so that it does not come in and touch in that spot. This can be tapered out a bit better. I'm basically making a mess here, aren't I? All right. So here's a potential fuura that still needs some trimming. Aren't you happy you joined me today? You get to watch me do all of this stuff. I'm just feeling like we maybe could all use a little bit of wild and crazy right now. Oh, that's kind of fun, actually. That's not bad at all, is it? Could be overwhelming, though. All right, let me this off and clear that off. Clear the decks. Now that we've got a general shape, we can take a look at it. And clearly that's a little big for the space we have, which means we could add some space. I'm thinking another color might be a little too much, and she's a grandmother, so maybe her fuura flair is white. I actually kind of like that. I mean, that's an accident, but I kind of like it. I guess it doesn't mean it has to be on Hildy, but I'll just keep that. Well, I'll take a still of this in the video, and then I'll have that to do, I don't know, some other quilt. Let's trim this up a little more, see if we can contain her fuura flair. Oh, that could be a title of a children's book. Hildy's fuura flair. The story about Toves. Yes, there's a reason I was a librarian, but there's a reason I wasn't a children's librarian, because I come up with ideas like that. Okay. That's going to be a bit more of a better fit for her, except that her eye is going to be at a disadvantage there, because how's she going to see over the fuura? But I kind of like the design. This needs to be reasonably sturdy, because this is what's covering the kids. But the flare up here can be a little more dainty. I'm not sure that dainty is a word that's going to apply to Hildy. I don't know. What do you think Hildy's like? How do you read Hildy's energy? And this is a day when I think the brood are sleeping. So she's having a relatively quiet, peaceful time here, which we wish for all parents and grandparents, right? And, oops. Well, there's a design decision. Not a good one, but definitely a decision. Okay. And of course that blue stripe won't be there, except, oh, that would be kind of a nice additional flair to it. And could this actually sit up this way? So that goes off the edge even of the block. Okay, our little brood is getting smaller and smaller. The little tinies, the little tiny babies. So that can go there. She's got her necklace on. This is turning into quite the wild piece, but you know, when it's an Alice quilt, you've got to have funky stuff going on. All right, this I want, I think, to curve down just a bit. Not much, because I kind of like that little addition of a squared off. Sorry. I'm moving off camera. All right. So, I get tired of watching me trying to fling this thing around. So the brood has a place to sit. And since I have this much white and the white is supposed to be an accent color, I think the brood's going to have to be different colors. And now we need to think about the nonsense at the back. And I think it could be a simpler kind of thing. Well, you'll know that's going to go off the edge, right? Can even trim the top a little bit if we need to. Maybe this just needs to have some substantiality to them. It has to be substantial enough to kind of protect the little brood. And then there's always going to be one who's, you know, slipping off the back. So that's why we have the nonsense here, because that's going to hold the little brood people that are brood people, Toves that are falling off the back. So we could have it come off like the tail of, say, a dog or a cat, or we could have it kind of slide up that way and just a little curl at the end. So I might do it in pink so it would balance out this pink here, and the little swirl would balance that out here. Okay, so let me do a template in white first because I'm running low on pink, so I don't want to try it out that way. And what did I decide I was going to do? So if we do it this way, and it's going to, well, let me put it on there, maybe that will help me. Teenager gone there, out of the way for the moment. And we want this to slide up like this. And it doesn't need to be very large, but just a little bit of a something there. And this one I will just start out with and finish with scissors because I need to oil the hinge on these scissors. Probably sharpen the blades too. Okay. This is a good reason to call it nonsense too, because it helps to protect the little toes who are doing nonsense on their back, because they're not going to slide off, whether they are sleeping or up to mischief. In the trade catalogs, it's also known as a mischief manager, a mischief minder. Okay. So that this is really turning into quite an Alice-y thing, isn't it? So there's the mischief minder, the nonsense. These guys need to move back. And let's, oh, can't pretend those are, because they're the same color. How about we have 3 little Toves there? I don't know that they'll be circles. I'm pretty sure they won't be circles. But we'll have 3 there. I wonder if an oval kind of shape might be good. Then I could put the stripe through the middle. I'm not hating this. It's a little bit on the foo-for-on nonsense side, but we set out to do foo-for-on nonsense, didn't we? Well, I did. You probably were being a little more sensible about everything. All right, so I'm going to try this in pink. I don't know, that may be too much, but let's try it in pink and see what happens. There it is in pink, and I do not like it. So I'm going back to the white. Now here's something I didn't think of, but maybe go this way with it. Is that any better? I wouldn't say any better. Is that a good possibility too? No, I don't think I like that as well. I think I want to go with that. And so then maybe one of these will need to be pink. Yeah, the pink was just too much here. I think I need some pink to balance, but that was just too much. All right, let me cut a little circle here. You know how bad I am at cutting circles. It's probably going to pain you to watch me cutting a freehand circle. It's paining me, and I'm the one doing it. Okay. So I can even wrangle. Ooh. Oh. Oh. What if little Toves are kind of teardrop shaped? Maybe a little bigger than that. But I think that could be kind of fun. Or even more of an oval shape. All right, so we're going to replace that with this. Maybe that will be yellow. Kind of ties that in. So this is not a very delicate thing, so I have to ponder. I think I want that weight there. I know it's a lot of weight over here, visual weight, and not as much over here, but I seem to be okay with that. Goodness knows why. All right. I don't know why I do a lot of things that I do. I'm trying to do this up here so I'm not shedding on. I'm cutting the teardrop shape here, sort of. to see if that's going to work as little bitty Toves. So here's a little teardrop shape. And that has the same kind of flare sort of look that has. I don't know what color we want the little mini Toves to be, the baby Toves. All right, so this guy's sliding off the back. He's caught in the minder. And so I probably want, but I talked about doing a strip through the middle. We could do that with some embroidery, so it's got a little stripe. And do a couple of yellow Toves up here. Yellow baby toes. This is getting to be a lot, isn't it? That's just getting to be a lot. But it's an Alice quilt, right? What the heck? Okay. While I was pondering, I decided that maybe I should try something a little more angular to balance out all of these curves going on, and also to mimic and tie in the shape in Hildy. But it still looks like a lot to me. I'm wondering if I take that off. Maybe that doesn't look a little better. Or maybe not. If we're going full-throated Alice, maybe they just needed to be further down here, and these move further up here. Haven't started slipping yet. Yes, that's better. I like that better than a curved or round shape. And I mean, I could do some embroidery or something down here. I don't want to put another, swirly kind of shape, because I think that would really be too massively much. But I think it could definitely use a little something something down there. I like her eye that's looking back. I like her little retro 60s necklace. I like having a little balance down here. I was going to say maybe I want to put a white there, but like there, where you can actually see it against the blue. But there's enough white going on elsewhere. Do I really want that, or do I want green back? I think I want the green. And this is the blue marker that I started to take out, and then I pressed them and came back out. So that's a reminder to check out your marking pen. But these I'm just using these as templates, put them on fusible web, and then cut out the shapes, fuse them. Same with these. Circles will probably be done with my usual circles method. And these will also be an applique. So let me sort of gather the applique, get it fused on there. And then, I'm looking at this, it does need something down here. This is craziness, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because. I honestly kind of like it in that orientation. I mean, it's not Hildy, but I kind of like it. So that's something to think about maybe for another quilt, is maybe those shapes or the composition, something. All right, I'm going to organize the appliques here and I'll be back. All right, these are fused and ready to stitch around, and I did make actual circles out of these, not just the kind of circles I cut when I try to cut freehand. It's a sad thing. Now, I do want to do something down here with embroidery. I think it's just going to be kind of a wandering railroad track like I have done in others, and this will kind of help to tie everything together. So I will put this on some stabilizer and sit down at my machine and do a little stitching, and then that should be it for now. And here is where we're at with Hildy. So far, I haven't appliqued these down. I did do the actual circles. I haven't done the applique stitch on these either. And that will give me actually a chance to contemplate what else I want to do. These may have some, I don't know, French knots or beads or something. Maybe these will have beads in them. Some of it has to wait until after it's quilted. But I think some of it could happen before then. I'm not sure. I like having the pops of pink and a little bit of the other colors to tie it in, having this down here to tie in with other blocks. And just the fuura flair and the nonsense. It's not something that I have done on this quilt yet, and I kind of like it. So let me know what you think, what you might have done differently, what you might add or take away. Be happy to know what you're thinking. So I look forward to reading your comments. Next week, I may be going back to George's Park just to try to finish that up. It's a bit of sewing to do yet. Well, actually, there's a lot of sewing to do yet. I don't know what we'll do, but I hope to see you next week, whatever we end up doing. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.